Okay, we're on air.
Cool. Okay. Welcome everyone to the Node Build Working Group meeting, 22nd of August. In attendance, we have Michael Dawson, Joao Rees, myself, Rod Vag, and Raphael Ackerman. Who's your first meeting, right, Raphael?
As a member.
Yeah, cool. Welcome. So, agenda we've got. First one is 826. Basically, document who has access to infra and release. They're sort of sub teams, but they're just documenting the secrets repo. So it'd be good to have a team that just keeps track of who has what access.
Okay, so basically set up a team which mirrors who has access to what.
So yeah, I guess it'd be like Node.js Build -release and Node.js Build -test. Oh, sorry, no, it's infra and release, isn't it?
And I guess that's not visible from what's available in the build repo?
No, so you can decrypt these secrets, GPG keys, and work it out. And I've now put it in like a in the access document, but that's going to get out of sync, right? So it'd be good if we just had added the team, get your GPG key. Well, that was my theory in
there. Something like Node.js /build/infra.
Yeah, exactly. Infra. So the release.
My one comment is I'm not sure that everybody can see teams. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
You're right, but members can, right? So that's a good 600 people as opposed to the people who can see the secrets repository. And then, I agree. It would be nice to have. Yeah. So it's not the best.
We could just document it in the README if we want everybody to see it. I agree. We're maintaining two things, so we can always get out of sync. It is obvious, it is easier to add it to the team. Just thinking if we want it to be totally visible, that's not going to quite do it.
Yeah, true.
So a good option is the wiki. We could, since it's unused, we can open it just for team members. It's easier to maintain than a README with PRs commits.
Why, out of interest, because I've heard that suggested before, why is the wiki easier to maintain?
No PR required.
It's just there's no, like for things like this, I think, that doesn't need reviews. It's just you edit and it's there.
But I guess at the same time, this always is something like, okay, it's add me to this team, give me this access. Like, it always ends up with something that does need, that will be discussed and have an issue or something open anyway. So maybe if we just said the primary thing that you do is you raise a PR to say, hey, mate, can I join the infra team or whatever it is?
Yeah, if it's on the README, then that could be the gating function for getting on and being removed from teams. Is that so? Yeah, and we PR there, we discuss it there, and then it's a bit like the email list thing for TSC and CTC members. Like you do it on the main list, and then you go and do the email later.
Yeah, in fact, it's like what we do for Node Build itself, right? You get added to the build, you do your PR for README, and then you get added to the build work, the team, and then you get your secrets. Yeah. That's all like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I like that too. So
cool. I'll note that was the resolution.
Cool. Yeah. Who's going to do it?
I'm happy to take that. I'll raise the issue.
Right.
And you already have those lists, right?
Yes, they're already just in different. I'll just move them from the access thing.
Okay. Great.
Sorry, you are?
Still, I wonder if GitHub bot team makes sense for issues that are specific to the bot. It could be easier to mention that team.
So you mean have a team for the GitHub bot? Yeah. Well, I guess we could do like, we have all these admin groups for Jenkins. We could have like a GitHub bot admins team that is the people with the...
So it's already there. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if we want an email alias, or sorry, a team, that makes total sense to me as well for whatever you know, if we thought it was useful for somebody to be able to at Node.js / you know, the people who have access to test or something.
Well, I guess the classic one is like Jenkins has gone down at Node.js build, but of course, really it's at Node.js infra because that's the only people who have access.
Right. Although it's not necessarily bad that it goes to the whole build team, because then we can help chase or whatever.
Yeah. Also, as a person who raised a few of those, the infra/test is a bit of a minutia that is more of internal to the working group.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like we're still on the README then.
So what were you saying specifically about the GitHub bot team?
That if there's actually now GitHub bot is failing to put updates in the PR, but I think it's still used to put the labels. And if there's a problem with it, it's good to have a team that can be mentioned.
Yeah. So there is already a GitHub bot team, right? This was just, there's a subsection of that team who have access to the secrets. So while I was going through all the other ones, that was another one where I didn't even realize that was the case. So I wondered where that could maybe be in the GitHub bot README or something, right? Like it doesn't have to be.
I wasn't aware of the other one, but it makes sense. If it's already there, then that's what should be used.
But there's one for the whole GitHub bot team, but not for the people who have access, right? There's no list of who has the infra access within that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think there's a team there, so yeah, makes sense.
Cool. So any more on that? I think that's pretty open shut. I'll update that to make a note. The next one on the list is 806 to demo Keybox. George isn't here, so I'm suggesting we just skip that to the next time.
Yep, I think we have no other choice.
Cool.
I think it is good to see that though, because if there's something else that will help us manage things more easily, quicker, that would be great to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be cool to test it.
Do we need to schedule something special to have George? Make sure George is with us.
So I think George was just caught up in suddenly a huge amount of work came down the pipe, and he's just really busy with that.
Yeah, I guess the question is, should we just wait? It's 3 weeks till our next meeting, is it?
Yeah, we could talk about. That's a good point. We could maybe try and.
It's not urgent. It's just I can imagine you 3 weeks coming around, and then
and then if it doesn't happen
again, then
it's like over a month. Yeah.
Just ask him to record a demo. You know, one.
I think questions would be nice. I'd like to be able to
because he's certainly been using it hands-on in the other projects. So
yeah, that kind of personal feedback. Well, we could try and set something up for, I don't know, next week or like the same time on one of the odd weeks, or is the CTC and TSC stuff happening? I don't know.
I think this time, I don't think there's anything that conflicts with this time, but I think we usually alternate this time and a later time to make sure Rod can make it, because this is very early for him. So I'd hate to.
How about we shoot for next build meeting, and if it doesn't happen, then let's have a special meeting for it, just to get it off the table.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Cool. Okay. So, unless there's anything else in that one, next issue is PR 804, adding download testing. I basically added this so we could just make sure everyone's on board with it, and also because it kind of leads into, if we're going to add more testing or more scripts and more of this kind of stuff, having some sort of plan for doing it, trying to think ahead.
It's good. It's good to discuss if it's the right location and the right name as the first one.
So kind of just thoughts.
I guess if we're going to do more scripts, then definitely let's keep it in the build repo. But because if this is a thing we're going to do, and I quite like the setup of this job, how it clones the build repo and runs it from there. That's a nice thing, and I can see that expanding to other scripts as well, and then we have full access over that and don't have to wait for things to be updated in the Node repo.
Yeah,
So
that's
it makes sense.
That's certainly how we do it, like internally. We just have a separate. Also, you have to clone a whole build repo just to do a quick test, right? Sorry, a whole node repo. So you just, clone the repo. It's got your scripts in it. It takes 2 seconds, and then you just go.
Right. We could even consider it. If we're worried about clone time, we could have a separate repo. But
yeah, if this repo ever has like significant other stuff in it.
Right. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking we didn't really need that because it's not that hard to clone or that long. It's pretty small.
Makes sense to me. And we can always do that later. Cool. So I guess, would it be worth, creating a Jenkins folder for Jenkinsy stuff, or
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of using the name tools, making that Jenkins/download test.
Sounds good. And then we can always reorganize. That seems pretty clear. That's what it's for. We can always reorganize it later if we have other things to conflict.
Yeah, no, that sounds good to me for sure.
Okay.
So were there ideas for other kinds of scripts already? Or is it
well,
I think any of our existing Jenkins jobs, we should consider pulling them out, to be honest.
This kind of ties into the next. Yeah. This ties into the next one, right? So should we just quickly hop over to the next one, being Jenkins pipelines and trying to move things into repositories and run them through there, which is 838. Migrate job configuration to pipeline files, which serendipitously someone else who I think just started contributing to Node raised. So yeah, if we were going to try and move all our scripts that we currently have in the config.xml files in Jenkins into, I guess, pipelines or just shell scripts that get called.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit about what pipelines are versus what we're
doing? Well, a pipeline is basically just a programmatic way of doing the previous job config, where you set up your nodes and say this runs an XYZ node and uses the space, and it clones a repo and it runs a script. I think how much of it you want to do, that the pipeline is written in Groovy, so how much we want to do in Groovy and how much just in shell or batch would be kind of our choice. You can just run a shell script. I think in general, I prefer keeping the shell because I find it much clearer. I'm just saying pipeline sets up whatever Jenkins stuff, and then it just triggers a shell script that just runs. But that's kind of implementation details, right?
Right.
And I think you get more control about sort of what node you run on, whether you create a repo, whether it sort of automatically clones it into a different repo and then moves it. Like you have a lot more, in theory, control about how stuff works.
So it's a replacement for the UI that configures jobs?
Yeah, the idea being that especially if you have one, it's like the Travis file, right? The idea is you can just have one Jenkins file that just defines your test and it just gets automatically run with no configuration in.
Does it include like the ability to do includes and stuff like that?
What do you mean by includes?
Like I'm just thinking, it'd be nice to be able to set up basically like a template that says, well, here's a job which specifies a certain set of workers. It sets up these kinds of things, and then you could have that imported into, or I'm wondering if there's a way to basically separate out the stuff that would be common to a whole bunch of jobs.
Yes,
and then use it across multiple ones, right?
I think ideally we'd have, for example, like one node test commit pipeline, or maybe and it would just say if this do that, like it could have, because it's a full. Groovy's basically like a repo version of Java, right? I'm
thinking more of the we have a job in the postmortem repo, and we have a job in the NAPI repo. They both want to like pull the latest node and then run some tests, right? If we had something which was pull the latest node and then we could just build on to that running the test, that'd be really great.
Yeah, I think theoretically that's possible. I would say in practice, I haven't yet seen really good implementation pipelines. Like the idea is great, but I haven't seen someone go, look, here's all the cool stuff I've done. Here's the great documentation that's just really easy to set up. So how feasible it is would kind of be, remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's my comment too. I left my comment that I left in that thread is basically the same, where it's the idea is interesting, and I love the idea. I love being able to get stuff out of Jenkins config and into GitHub, like just the transparency of that and the ability for others to contribute to it, because it's really a black box right now for most people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just my experience with the whole pipeline, the UI and the experience of the start to finish. And it may be just because I'm used to traditional Jenkins style. It's just not intuitive, and it's kind of a mess in Jenkins, to be honest. That's my impression of it so far. So my suggestion there is let's, like, it's a cool idea to try and move towards, but let's do something basic with it to start with and see, and make an assessment from there, and then see what our critique is, and then see if we can fix that. And if we get to the point where it's like, yeah, this is so much better, then great. But if we collected all our critique and we just can't make any more progress, then maybe let's pick off a simple task and
like maybe one of the work group, runs or something, builds, because usually they're smaller in number, right?
Well, in fact, Raphael, you were just looking at doing the NAPI one, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I can tackle both.
I've been using
anyway, I'm tabula rasa on this, so
cool.
So if you want to make the new one use those, and we can then give us something concrete to look at.
Yeah, I'll take it as a proof of concept.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be, as you said, Rob, we don't have to just do it all at once, right? We can just start it in a corner somewhere and just see how it develops by itself. And if it's terrible, then people won't want to do it, and it'll just kind of die there. But
this brings a related issue, which is the fact that we're stuck on a particular version of Jenkins, and it seems, and I gather it's because we need Java 8 on all of the nodes before we can upgrade. Are we just stuck there? Because I've been doing occasional upgrades to Java 8 on some of the nodes, but some of them it's very difficult, very very challenging, and I've had So I like, if we're going to go pipelines, it's like maybe we need to be able to pull in the latest Jenkins and keep on updating that. But if we're stuck on this particular version of Jenkins, then are we sort of backing ourselves into the corner?
So unlike just a single data point, but George is working on the .WG project, which also has like a bunch of different architectures and obscure OSs, and and he, I think, again, they're much newer, but they have got to the point where they're all on Java 8 and then they upgraded. And he said that it was a pain, but it wasn't, like, it was doable on a similar set of architectures. And we could probably look at, George, I know George is keen to help out more, so we could probably look at some of the Ansible work they've done could be ported over if it sort of helps. So I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's a slog, and someone's going to have to sit down and just go through it.
We don't even, I don't think we've got an idea of which machines we're stuck on either. We don't even have a basic audit.
Yeah.
I wonder, I was almost hoping I could pull George into helping with some of the Mac setup.
Yeah.
Which I might prioritize a little bit higher, right?
That's probably more important,
Yeah.
I mean, the Java's just checking the version should be just a question of some little thing in the script config that just goes for each machine, run a Java version thing, right? That should be reasonably simple.
Maybe. It's just, I know some of them are hardwired the direct path to the Java executable in the setups, and some of them just called Java. So it's a bit of a mess.
Right.
I mean, we could just run like if we made a Jenkins job that ran across the architectures that just did a Java dash version in the script, would that give us the info we need?
Yeah, and failed if it's not version
8.
Yeah, exactly. Fail if it's not high enough.
And I guess if that worked, like if the which Java gave you a version 8 Java, but the one hard-coded wasn't Java 8, you could always that would be an easy fix, right? Just update the version that's hard-coded. So it wouldn't be, like, as long as there is a Java 8 on the system that works, then that's fine. Yeah. I guess we need to, like find a time, have a little hack afternoon or something to just go through them all, because it seems like
so this seems like a blocker for getting to a good pipeline state, because pipelines is new and under active development. And I mean, you can use it with the current version of Jenkins. Actually, it's not really a blocker. So Raphael, you can tinker with it now, but it just seems like this is something that you really need to be able to keep up to date with Jenkins for, unless it's all implemented with plugins.
It is mostly. So I mean, I've got a couple of pipelines which do nothing more than call a job a couple of times with different parameters. I think most of it is through, it has been split out into the plugins. But you won't notice any breaks, right?
Okay, well, let's just make sure that that's on our list of things to get done next time we have a hack session, or something that somebody could pull off the list if they want to contribute.
Sounds good. Cool. If that's everything, there's nothing else on the agenda. Is there any other business?
We normally do a bit of a
Yeah.
status update, right?
Yeah, we missed that. We should circle back. Okay.
Just this, yeah.
Who's first? Michael, I think you are.
Okay. Haven't had a lot of time over the last little while. I did just follow the instructions that Rod gave me. Thanks a lot in terms of updating the mail aliases. So we'll see. I'm hoping that it was pretty straightforward. So I'm hoping that that'll just resolve that. Also, earlier today, did a bit to get Refax ready to help working on the NAPI jobs, and thanks for doing that as well. Other things I'm trying to find time to get to is setting up the SSH tunnel so that the Raspberry Pi ARM6 that I have can be, making the next steps to getting that set up in the CI as a backup. And I do want to try and get back on getting the Macs configured. And I guess along with that, the first thing I might look at is getting the graphics and stuff set up so that we can, advertise that we've had that donation.
So it's you next.
So I was away almost for a full month. I was expecting some downtime, but still be able to follow the issue tracker at least. But I was not able to do anything, and I just fell off the internet for a full month. So sorry for the low availability. And after that, I updated Git in the Windows machines to the latest version. And I changed some Jenkins jobs to run in the new Jenkins workspace that Rod set up. Gibson?
Yes, so I guess that access document, just trying to write down who has access to what and all the bits that came from that, mostly just so I could understand what the different teams were. And other than that, mostly helping teams just get their sort of CI set up. Pretty much, as Michael said, pretty much every team is, they want to pull Node, npm git clone their repo, npm install, npm test. So it's all the same basic setup, and then maybe some extra fancy stuff. So LL Node, readable stream, yes, just some working groups. Yeah,
Node report.
Yes, that's me. Rod?
Sure. I've been doing a lot actually. The Jenkins workspace stuff I did. So there's 2 new machines there that they're only Atom processors, but they've got 1 terabyte disks, and they now serve as the workspace for the parent of all the job or most of the jobs. So when you run a job, it actually does the initial work on one of the workspace machines, which is just basically cloning the repo and figuring out exactly which commit and what needs to be done. And then it triggers, the Jenkins triggers the work elsewhere. And this was all done on master previously. And it was just taking up too much disk space. This turned out to be what our big disk space problem was on Jenkins master. With all these workspaces that have been cloning, once I removed all the workspaces, we were down to plenty of disk space. So I haven't been back on there to check out the current size. I know there's probably still some more workspaces to clean up there. But the workspace thing seems to be working pretty well. And we've got those 2 additional machines for just basic grunt work that where, if you need to assign a specific machine to get something done, or a random machine, you probably should choose one of those 2 machines. And I did that for the Coverity nightly run, where it does it on one of those machines just because it needs a machine to run on. So yeah.
Yeah, I forget there was one other one you pointed me at that made a lot of sense for as well. So thanks.
Yeah, so just be conscious of those 2 machines on there that they're available for grunt work. And if you've got jobs tied to specific machines where it's for no good reasons other than just needing a machine, choose one of them. Been doing a lot of infra, management work, just restarting machines, reprovisioning machines as things die or have trouble. The usual Jenkins, failures where things need restarting or workspace cleanouts. Some interesting errors like the, I haven't looked at the status today, but the Rich found a funny error with one of the ARM64 machines that was when it was doing a, what was it? Oh, it's an SSL error in the middle of a test run. It would report this SSL error. I reprovisioned an entirely new machine in a different data center, and it gets the same error. So it's to do with the operating system and platform. So that's weird. I did upgrade that one to Java 8 to see if, it would know to the Oracle Java JVM, so see if that works.
Rod, for that one, did you, was that the same, from the Jenkins master point of view, was that the same like slave configuration? Because I sometimes find just copying it and deleting the old one sometimes for some reason fixes Jenkins issues.
Oh, okay. No, it was the same. Yeah, it was the same configuration.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I've had that with a Mac a couple of times, just for no reason.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a good hint, because if the problem persists, then I'll do that next, because I was going to ask for suggestions on what to do next if it persists, because it's a weird one.
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of ARM cluster maintenance last couple of weeks. I had a whole bunch of machines that were either marked permanently offline or were actually offline, and went through and re-imaged a bunch of disks, and ended up replacing 4 SD cards in the process. So 4 were busted in this round. Most of those turn out to be on the Pi 1s, so, which is interesting, and I don't really know what to do with that information, other than I have reduced the overclocking on the ones I reprovisioned from high to medium, just at a guess that being overclocked might somehow impact disk stability. I don't know. So, but anyway, that's all online. I brought back online the Odroid XU3, so that now the ARM v7 Ubuntu 14.04 nodes are back in the mix, but the other 2 of those machines, the Odroid XUs, are both offline. One because I've got a busted power supply that I'm ordered a replacement for, and the other, which actually seems to be a problem for both of them, seems to have disk problems. So I'm going to have to pull out those disks and re-image them. But so there's only one machine actually handling that work at the moment. So that's a little bit awkward, but stable enough. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the state of the ARM cluster at the moment, and it's taken a fair bit of work to get it stable again. I also put in a PR yesterday with a whole bunch of miscellaneous information about setup that's non-Jenkins. And Joao, I think I pinged you in that as well, because it needs the Windows section. So anything that's not Ansibleized, we should put in there.
Yeah, I saw that. I will. Do you mind if I add a commit there?
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
Okay.
Then that'll do for me. There's probably more things, but yeah. Refak, do you want to?
So
do you want to do a status?
I was just onboarded yesterday, but I already managed to get some tasks. So first, Gabriel raised the requirement for an NAPI add-on test job. So I'm taking that on. And there has been a little bit of talk in LabUV about some sort of smoke testing that is building a LabUV, then trying to link it to downstream projects and run their test suites similar to the Canary. So I'll see if they're interested in following it up, and then we can take it up here. And that's it.
Oh, that reminds me. Part of my status update also is the SSL certificates for 3 domains that I renewed. The information's all on GitHub. It's a bit tedious, but we've now got new SSL certificates. But we need to put our list of things to do within the next 12 months to convert to Let's Encrypt. But we need a solid setup for that. It's not going to drop us offline if somehow it falls over and doesn't renew within its 3-month window. So
that did remind me of one other. Go ahead.
So we have 12 months for 2 of those domains, the libuv domain and the IOJS domain. We have 24 months on the Node.js.org domain.
So unrelated, but that did remind me of one other thing, is I did spend some time getting the libuv jobs running on the ZOS machines just to get that testing in place for libuv as well.
How, out of interest, how fast are those machines? Are they like the Z Linux ones?
To be honest, I haven't looked at that yet. There was like a couple more. We were like 2 tests away from being green. As soon as it's green, I'll take a look at how fast that overall it runs. It's a good question.
The libuv build and test is like insignificantly fast. I can do it on my machine in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, when you compare to the Node one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we'll have to wait till we see like if the Node build is.
Until we get the Node going, yeah. But we can take a look anyway, just to see if it's even for that shorter thing, if there's any noticeable difference.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I think that's everything. So, are there any questions? Well, don't have any other business. And are there any questions in the meeting invite or an IRC? Anyone else we check for questions, or is it just those 2?
There I can, yeah, I think those are the 2 places we usually direct them, if they post in the issue or on the IRC.
Nobody on IRC.
Yeah, we don't normally get a huge number of questions.
No.
Usually from like Will, Captain. Just give it 30 seconds and then
Yep.
That's it. I think we'll wrap up.
Still nothing in the IC yet. I still see nothing in the issue.
I think that seems long enough. Right. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll pick it up on GitHub and see you guys in a few minutes.
Talk to you later.